When it came to an internship, I had a lot of questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer all of those for you as well throughout my presentation. The first question to be answered is how. How do we go about finding this internship that will help us with our careers? First, I looked around the town. It's all about your connections that you have and who you know. I also emailed almost every single one of my previous teachers, and they were all very helpful, even if all they knew to do was direct me to the internship coordinator. I looked online as well. The internet is such a great resource that sometimes we take it for granted. It's actually where I ended up finding one option was online, even sometimes on Craigslist. That sounds weird, kind of sketchy, so maybe don't do that option. I talked to a lot of my family members. They all got involved. My uncle was getting in touch with someone for me in Idaho Falls, and they were all very concerned about my internship and my career, so that's really awesome if you have helpful family. And also the Academic Discovery Center, I was emailing them all the time as well, and they helped me with a list of previous internships that people have gone to. And then the Career Navigator is eventually how you'll set up your internship. Once you find one, you'll have to go onto there and apply for it to get it approved as well. I was able to do my internship at the Family Crisis Center, which is actually just located right on Main Street in Rexburg. It was an awesome internship, and by the end of this presentation, if you're interested in it, Margie Harris is the executive director and the one who has communications with the school and who you'll be hired by, and the phone number at the bottom is the number for the crisis center, and just ask for Margie Harris, or you can even walk in and ask them about internships. They're all very helpful and very nice, and they love interns, and they wouldn't be able to do what they do without them, so they'll be very helpful for you. Now to answer the question what I learned there, what I did there, how it helped me with my life. As you can see by this list, I came up with quite a few, so I'll just go through that and tell you a little bit more about it. The Family Crisis Center, for those of you who don't know, is a center for those who are victims of domestic violence, and they need a plan to get out, they need resources. We have a food bank, and we have a thrift store that they can come get food and clothes if they are not in a position to get help anywhere else. So that being said, I learned a lot about victims in that situation, and I learned about the characteristics of the abuser and the victim as well, and their family dynamics. I was able to sit in with the clients and listen to their experiences and see where they came from and maybe their backgrounds and what led them to be in this relationship, or why they were still in this relationship. Public awareness was a big part of the internship. We were always trying to think of ways to get the word out. We did a lot of presentations at the schools, and we were trying very hard to make sure people knew about domestic violence and knew that they could come to us for help, but also to try to stop it, because as much as I loved being an intern there, it would be way awesome if we didn't have to have something like that in the town. They are a nonprofit organization, which is why they love interns so much, because we do a lot of hands-on work, which is not very common within internships. So we help them a lot because they are nonprofit. I've learned passion through the employees there. They're very passionate about what they do and about helping people, and it's a really good experience. They're a great example about that, about loving your job and helping others. Like I previously mentioned, I learned a lot about family dynamics. In my classes, I learned about the basics of family dynamics, and then through this internship, I was able to learn more about the negative family dynamics and how they're hurtful to those involved. I was also able to read a lot of books. Sometimes there was a little downtime, and they warn you about that before you get started at the internship, but they have a ton of books that are just great information. Some of them are a little depressing and made me never want to have children, but that's for another PowerPoint. Next, I learned a lot about business. Like I mentioned, they had a thrift store at the Family Crisis Center, and just running a small little business, we got to go down and help in the thrift store when the employees were sick or busy, and we were able to help run that and put all the donations away and everything like that. Charity was a big part of the internship because that's basically what the Family Crisis Center is, just being there for others and loving them no matter what, and believing in their stories even if maybe they're fabricating a little bit, but we don't know their life, so all we can do is give them the help that they need. I learned a lot about organization. With just everything that we did, we needed to be very organized. Since they're a nonprofit, that was a big deal to keep track of everything that left or came in to the Family Crisis Center. The donations all needed to be organized, and the thrift store needed to be organized. Our time was all organized. A lot of the employees there had great organizational skills. The next one is advocacy, and that's what the employees there are called. They're called advocates, and they are there to basically just what the word is, to advocate for the clients, to be their rock, their solid place, and to be in the emotional state that they'll be able to help the client continue on and make plans when the client is not able to do so for themselves. My favorite part of the internship was learning more about counseling, because that's what I eventually want to go into. They have a support group every Thursday for the women that we get to go sit in on, and this is when actual group counseling happens. So that was really awesome to be able to be a part of that and to talk with the counselor afterwards and just get some more life knowledge and talk about maybe what we didn't understand or what we had learned in our school and classes. Lastly, I learned about boundaries, and that's really important in this internship and in this career field, because there's going to be people that you really feel for, but you have to have boundaries with your clients, and you can't do things for one client that you wouldn't do for another, and you also need to be very safe with your private information, not giving out phone numbers or home address or sometimes even last names if you feel your safety is in jeopardy. And just making sure that you're safe first, kind of like the plane, when you get on a plane and if something goes wrong and the oxygen tanks come down, you have to put it on yourself first before helping someone else, or you won't be of any help if you're unconscious. That's, in a roundabout way, it's like the same idea. I'll show you a few pictures of the Family Crisis Center. Up in the right, there's the home of the interns. We spent a lot of time in the front answering phones, doing projects, calling clients, welcoming people through the front door, answering questions, just kind of being the first line of defense, if you will. Down in the lower corner is a childcare playroom. That's where the kids were able to go when their mothers were needing some help from the advocates, and it was nice for them to not have to hear those explicit conversations that were usually about their fathers, so that wouldn't have been fun for them, I am sure. This is a school presentation that I was able to go to. It's actually at BYU Idaho at an intern fair. It's really cool to be able to go out in the public and let people know about the Family Crisis Center and the good that we do for the community, and just kind of get the word out. And everything on the table people were able to take, so they really enjoyed that, especially the candy. I know I enjoyed that as well. I was also able to attend a junior high presentation for the health fair, and that was also a great experience. This is the awesome thrift store that's located downstairs underneath the Family Crisis Center that I had no idea existed until I started interning there. It's open Monday through Friday, 10 to 3, and it's just a really great thing. It's super cheap clothes for anyone who comes in, and then clients who need help are able to just go in and pick out whatever they need. And it's all by donations, and we have an overflow of clothes in the back that aren't even out. So it's just a really cool deal to be able to be a part of. When I first started my internship, I was kind of having trouble making the connections, but as time went on, I found plenty of connections with the Family Crisis Center and my major classes. One was parenting, when we were in with the kids watching them while their mothers were getting help. It was so easy to tell like what parenting style even was used on them based on their attitudes and their behaviors, and what was going on at home just emoted out of the children. Learned helplessness is a big one. It's kind of a hard one though. You have on one side of it the people that really do truly need help, and then the other side that takes advantage of the system, and you've helped them, and is that really helping them get on their feet, or is it just helping them learn what to do next to milk whatever they can out of it? Which is sad to say, but I think sometimes that does happen. Next is the abuse cycle. It's kind of an obvious one, but we just learned in one of my theories classes that the abuse cycle starts with tension building, a few arguments, and then the actual abuse happens, and then the honeymoon phase comes in. And it was just really interesting to see that in actuality and hear the women from the abusive relationships talk about even the honeymoon phases and how true that is. So it was a really great knowledge building experience. If you still need some more convincing as to why you should intern at the Family Crisis Center, here's a few more things. There's a great atmosphere, great people, the employees are awesome, information overload. I learned a ton, and I had so much hands-on experience and so many opportunities for service, and at the same time I was getting internship hours for my major, so that was just a bonus. And I would definitely highly recommend this place as an internship.